Alright guys, we're back in Richmond. I am pretty tired this morning. I did kind of oversleep a bit. We're a bit half hour late getting here, so we're here about 7:30. We're back on the line plastering. We've got a little bit of floating to do, and we've got some top coat to do. So I'm just going to get in there and organise ourselves and get on with it. So let's see how we get on, shall we? Okay, so we're in on the job. This is the line plaster that we did last week. It's one of the things. There's funny patches coming through. They weren't there, so I've not been here all weekend. I don't think they was there on Friday, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. Remember, it's on those fibrous wood chip boards. This floating's been sitting here all weekend. This one needs the top coat on it, and so does this round here. This is the board that's the floating is going over, so it has the undercoat on there with the mesh, tight coat of that, and then it gets floated out properly using plastic beads, and then it has the top coat all lime render, which is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to get on and dampen these down. We'll probably get these on at the same time. So we're getting quite used to using this lime render now, and there's some other stuff to do around the house, but we've got this fiddly, this all still needs cutting out. We did this last thing on Friday, so we'll just cut all this out and get the line render going on in here. Obviously the ceiling needs multi-finishing, so this is just we're coming towards the end of the job, and there's just a few bits and pieces left because we've had to come out in kind of sporadic ways, do this room here, do these walls here, that sort of stuff. But this isn't my job, so I'm just a pawn in the master plan here, and I'm just doing as I'm told, so that's what I've got to do today. And like I say, I've been working all weekend, so I'm quite happy to just be doing the top coat for this line render today. So yeah, those walls downstairs, that the front window and that door wall, we're going to get on top coat them both at the same time with the lime render. We did some other videos of it last week, so if you're interested in lime render, have a look at them as well. I'm not sure how much footage I'm going to get today, but just to add, if you want some more information, the top coat doesn't go off anywhere near as fast as the base coat. So what we're going to do, we've dampened them floated walls down with the hand pump sprayer. It doesn't need that much dampening because it's still quite wet, to be honest with you. And then we're going to knock up a couple of bags probably of the top coat. I'll show you what the product is in a minute. And then we're going to get a pretty tight coat on with that. It says it goes on about 1 to 2 millimeters, so that's why the floating needs to be so good. It goes on 1 to 2 millimeters. We get it on quite tight, and then we're going to let that pick up. And I think it needs something like 45 minutes before you can put the second coat on. And then the second coat goes on even tighter than that, or at least I've been putting it on tighter than that, because it allows us to, the depth of it really affects the setting time of it. So if I put another millimeter on it, I've just got to wait another 45 minutes before I can turn back. But yeah, putting on so tight and really opening the trowel and almost troweling up with the second coat, and then it's kind of picking up into the first coat so nicely that we're able to get straight back on it with the sponge float, and then straight back on it again with the just a normal hand sponge, and then it's finished. So where speed is concerned, that seems to be the best method we've worked out so far. Let's have a go and have a look at the products we're using. So this is the undercoat that the floating's been done in, and putting up the mesh, bit of mesh on the floor over there. These are the plastic beads we've been given to put up on the corners, and this is what we're using today, which is the top coat. So here's the material. Look at it, it's really slimy, like floor leveling compound, and that's it picking up after a little bit, but it does go quite a long way. So we knocked up one of those bags, and it's got all this on. Or that's a large wall, I guess there's not much meterage in it with the doors in there, and it looks like it's going to get pretty much all of that on as well. But yeah, it just goes on real tight. You have to make sure that the floating's really good, otherwise you're going to have struggle with getting this top coat on because it goes on so thin. But yeah, that's it, put on and unflattened. We don't really have to worry about these ripples, it's still too wet. I mean, you can give that a flatten if you want, but if you push for time, you can probably leave them and just get on cracking on with something else, which we're going to do over here. Okay, so the bag did get all of that, and we managed to squeeze the reveals for that over there as well. So now it's time to leave this for 45 minutes. It says on the bag, do not overwork it, and I thought I'd just run a trowel over there to see if it made any difference to these ripples. And yeah, you don't really want to touch it, it's not really improving anything. And I think if you do overwork it, you'll be messing up the average of all the thicker particles and the thinner particles. The more you move it, the thinner particles are coming to the top, and the thicker particles are kind of locking together, and it'll just go all puddiny and horrible. So yeah, definitely just get that coat on. There's a few little ripples in there. Do you know what? Don't worry about them, because when you put the sponge float on, it's going to cut them right back. Yeah, just leave it alone. Okay, just so you know, that's what the scratch coat looks like. You push the mesh in into the undercoat, very thin, and then you're supposed to put a floating coat over that, which is 4mm deep. So yeah, just push the mesh in, give it a light scratch, leave it alone. Yeah, so we've got a couple of balls upstairs. The floating coat was done over a week ago, so it dried quite a bit, and the top coat on it is going off quite a bit faster. As you can see, there's some patches on there where it's starting to dry. Just prior to putting the second part of the top coat, just give it a little spray up with this hand sprayer, just to take the bite out of it and help with the adhesion. I'm just going to do that and get the top coat on. So just to recap, the floating coat has had a coat put on it. It's gone quite dry, look. We haven't messed with it, we just put it on and we left it alone. And I'll see if I can record this with my hand. I've just put a little bit more on there for the second coat and show you how tight this is going on. And kind of, there's a few stones in this as well. Opening the trowel right up, and a little bit is going a long way. Right, there's some nasty stones getting in there, and it's going on too tight for me to be able to bury them, so I'm going to have to pop them out. But that's pretty much how tight we're going to get it, and we're going to let that pick up, and then we're going to run the sponge float over it. Okay, so there we are. We've just given it that real tight coat. Come out, that's the sort of texture we've got going on. So we're going to let this pick up a little bit, and it's still quite wet, as you can see. Let it pick up a little bit, then we're going to spray it down with the pressure sprayer and sponge float in. Like I say, there's a lot of these gritty bits in there. I think what's happened is guys used the bucket in between gauges of me doing this, and they knocked up some undercoat stuff, and I think it's the actual stones from that, so that doesn't make things much easier. But I've tried to bury them, but I think I might see if I can sort them out at the sponge float stage. Okay, so we've got this pressure sprayer. It's already pumped. Dousing up, spray on the wall. Don't need too much. And then we're taking this rubber sponge float. These are the ones from Wicks. They're a little bit denser and a little bit thinner. And all we're doing, see that hole there? I'm watching through the camera and trying to record. See, and we're just working it, bringing it up to that sort of texture. And like I say, those little bits of grit in there, they're causing little things like this. So you kind of really need to pull them out if they're going to be a pain like that. But the sponge float is catching them and dragging them, so it's showing me exactly where they are. So we're going to just carry on putting this texture, just to liven up the very surface with the sponge float. And then when that's picked up a bit, we're going to take the general car sort of cleaning sponge over the top of it, and that will be our finished floor. So yeah, you do get quite a big window of opportunity to get back over this with the sponge float. It can almost go right off and it will pull back. But I tell you what, I can't emphasise enough how good that floating coat is. Any discrepancy in that floating coat, if you don't get that good, you're really going to pay for it at this stage. The floating coat is where the skill is in this line render. This top coat goes on so thin. If there's any discrepancy, any wobbles, you're really going to struggle to get them out with the top coat. You've got to get it all in the floating. getting that floating coat bang on. Okay, so we've given that a sponge float and we've got this little texture going on. Now we need to give it this sponge. It does behave a little bit like render in the sense that it starts to go at the top more than anything else. So all you're doing is just little circles, just rubbing it out. You need to let it kind of go quite a bit. You can't do this when it's still like really wet. This is why it's handy to have such a tight coat for that second coat, because you can get straight back on it and get this in. But you can see that's the kind of texture we're getting. I mean, it's wet still, that's why it's glistening up. When that dries, that really mutes down. So yeah, the wetness, when the light's catching that, it's really showing the texture. But when you get the paint over it, it's going to fill a lot of that texture up, and it's going to be a matte paint as well. So yeah, that's probably about it for today, guys. There's not much point in recording anything else. That's what we're going to be doing for the entirety of the rest of the day. I was wondering whether to bother doing, so I've just come all out 3 flights of stairs. I was wondering whether to do a video today, because I've already done quite a lot of videos when we was doing this last week, all about this line rendering. And to be honest with you, they're probably better than this video. So if you want to know anything more about line rendering, just have a look at them on the playlist. Plus that, I've been working all weekend, I'm quite tired today. Yeah, if you did watch yesterday's episode, Judy had been out the night before, so she was a little bit hungover from a girls' night out. I was supposed to go on a boys' night out, but I was working, so I didn't go. So yeah, I had a succulent Chinese meal last night from the takeaway, and also about a quarter of a bottle of whiskey. So I'm not feeling my best today after such a long week of working. So we're here tomorrow doing this as well, so I'm not sure if I'll do a video on that either. So we're here tomorrow, and then we're off somewhere else doing something else for this same firm. So we'll be back with another video this week for sure. Alright guys, take it easy. Thanks very much. Thanks